The Blokebusters podcast is a proud member of the Pod Bros Network, where you can find us as well as other excellent podcasts such as Sarcasm City, Worst Millennials, and Late Night Gamers at podbros.com. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode of the Blokebusters podcast.
Tonight's story is somewhat unique and calls for a different kind of introduction.
Who's got off? Today we are canceling the apocalypse!
Wait a minute. You ain't heard nothing yet.
And this is?
Lilu Dallas Multipass.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Houston, we have a problem.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Now, where was I?
Hello and welcome to a rather special State of the Union episode where I'm just going to be quickly going over some of the things that have been going on and explaining how this podcast is going to be moving forward from today. So first and foremost, I want to thank everyone who is still subscribed, still downloading and waiting for the next episode because you guys rule. Myself and Brian, when we started this, we always said we would just keep doing this because this is what we wanted to do, and it's the same. I love doing this, and as much as I can, I want to be doing this moving forward, and the fact that you guys actually listen is just insane, but also great to know. So thank you for sticking around. Speaking of Brian, he is doing well, and hoping here that he will be back for our Stranger Things review, which at the moment is kind of tentatively set to record next month. Fingers crossed on that one, and I will keep you guys updated as much as I can in that regard. And I believe the biggest thing that I had to say will be this following one here, is that due to many things, I am now working somewhere that is an hour away, and so much of my day is spent travelling there, working there for 8 hours and travelling back. And then also life in general. I have a 2.5-year-old, almost 3-year-old now, daughter who is a handful. And also just general availability of trying to find other people to come on and co-host with me. And on top of that, I am currently GMing a game of a tabletop role-playing game. For people that are unaware, they require a GM generally, who is someone that runs the game and is actually explaining it. Matt Mercer on Critical Role, for those of you that don't know. I'm currently doing that for a really cool setting in a system called Savage Worlds. I recommend you look it up if you are interested at all in this sort of stuff. With that and just everything else, I have much less time than I used to. So this podcast is going to be moving to a much more sporadic release schedule. And basically what that means is probably once a month or so. I very, very rarely get to go to the cinema anymore, so it's probably going to be more Netflix films or films that came out several months ago that have had the chance to get onto VOD and stuff like that. But I will keep everyone, again, updated in that regard, and if there's any new films that I'm able to see and that people want reviewed, we'll do it. Sort of tagging on to that one, the social media feeds are definitely going to be less active, hopefully still going to be going, and I will still be putting stuff out from time to time, but as little spare time as I have now, I can't be as active on social media or getting everything ready for that as I used to be. So it's been slowing down for the past month or so, and I think it's gonna probably stay like that. I don't know how often I'll get to post, but I do still check it, but I don't have as much ability to plan around that anymore. So yes, I will be putting out any news updates and stuff through Twitter and Facebook if it's a big enough piece of news. So yeah, if you want to keep following us on Twitter and Facebook, that would be grand. And also I we'll put out another State of the Union or anything if any other big piece of news comes along. Since we will be going to more sporadic and you will have more time to listen to other things, I figured I would actually give a few podcast recommendations, things I've been listening to that I think you guys might enjoy. First and foremost, I will plug the other podcast that I am hosting, which comes out once a month, and we only record 7 episodes a year, so it's a lot less time putting into that, but it's still a lot of fun. And it's the Filmly Fortunes podcast. It's the film quiz podcast, where we get film podcasts on to fight against other film podcasts to see who knows more about film. And I promise you it's more it's more interesting, entertaining, and hectic than I just made it sound. There's also a fantastic audio drama podcast that I had a good friend of mine put me towards, which is called Wolf 359. It has completed its run. It started about 3 years ago and it finished a year ago. But it has been a wild ride and very well acted, and I recommend that you check it out, obviously. And there's 2 other podcasts that I'm going to recommend now. Both of these are to do with tabletop role-playing game. They're called actual play podcasts, is the term that people will use. And one of them is called Dice Funk. They have had 5 complete seasons, and each season is set in its own world with completely separate characters, completely different setting, all of them in D&D. And I'm currently going through the 5th season, and they just started the 6th. So if you want to just start completely fresh and just follow along once every week or so, I recommend starting there. And the other one is Fate and the Fable Maidens, which is a all-female cast and is a family-friendly D&D game that they do, and it is a lot of fun. There are a couple of moments where they are kind of like, oh, okay, this is the type of thing you hear about, where it's people playing D&D, and it's like, how on earth did that happen? Like, you get to hear it happen in real time. But yeah, those are the current podcasts that I'm listening to that I would recommend to you. Although there is one other one, you probably know about it, but if you don't, you're going to really get a kick out of it. It's called Wolverine the Long Night, and that was the first season, and it's now Wolverine the Long something else, and I don't recall the name off the top of my head, but they've only released 1 episode of that so far. And it is, once again, beautiful, just audio in it. The voice acting is brilliant. They got Richard Armitage as Wolverine in it, but in the first season, you don't really hear him much in the first few episodes, and they just spend a large amount of time doing the world building and getting some magnificent characters, and it's really gripping, a really good thriller, and I think you guys will really enjoy it. And so that's kind of all I have for now. Once again, thank you guys for sticking with us and for following us on this journey. And, there's always a chance that something will fall into place and I'll end up getting more time to work on this podcast, and we'll be able to get back to, more steady releases. But until then, I have been Paul, and hopefully you guys will stick with us as we continue on this journey through our podcasting life. And I'm going to end here before I make even more stupid, cheesy lines here. So, once again, thank you very much for listening in and for sticking with us. And I will get back to you as soon as I can. Bye.
In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Hang on a minute, lads. I've got a great idea.
Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.